What's good, G Life? This right here is beautiful Killer Cali. You already know California, home to dozens, hundreds of neighborhoods and gang members. And now, in today's video, we'll be bouncing around from different locations, different spots, county to county. You already know how it goes down. Covering all King Varrios. Yes, King Varrios. Because you do, have varrios that use, a lot of common themes like the, locals, criminals, gangsters, players. Another one is kings, you know what I mean? Label and branding themselves kings. And there is a lot of them. So I won't be able to make them fit all in one video, so I'm gonna have to do this in several videos. This is just part one. So with no further ado, let's get into it.
Live slow, live it up, watching time go. Planning moves, staying solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Live slow, live it up, watching time go. Making moves, staying solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. This how it is, the mission's Benjamins. And fuck the drama and the bullshit, we ain't little kids. My circle small, but my riders heart, they never quit. Get your money, keep it gangsta, solid, straight legit. Never switch like the real ones that die for this. It's fucked up, but this is truly how it is. I hope you're ready if you're picking this like full of sin. No turning back, I represent my vital to the end. Fuck the fakes and the snakes and everyone that hates. I'm not phased, I won't break, bitch, I'll never change.
You are now watching M.O.D Entertainment.
Now, starting off with the first one, the controversial one, the one that I get a lot of shit for every time I cover this neighborhood, because people be like, that's not true, he don't know what he's talking about, that's a lie, blah, 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 blah. Bro, I only come and tell it what it is. I don't never gotta make up shit. And if you have any complaints, go take it out to the homies that, shoot the info. Now, with this barrio, I have gotten so many different versions of the story, including from homies from these barrios. Those who have been following my channel for a long time know that I have homies from this neighborhood. I have interviewed them right here on my channel before YouTube took them down for copyright strikes. But those who have been following me for a while would know this. It is known as the Varrio LK. LK translating to Varrio Latin Kings. Now, the Varrio Latin Kings, at least from what I was told, was a neighborhood that was established right here in Pasadena, California, where it started, roughly around the 80s, at least from what I was told. You have any complaints, you can go take it out with them. Their neighborhood started right here in Pasadena. They were known as the Pasadena Latin Kings. And in the 80s, and they are the same Latin Kings as the ones from Chicago, New York. They're the same ones. They had homies that were on the run from over there, and they fled over here to California, to hide under the radar because they were wanted over there where they were from. You know what I mean? So then they started recruiting homies out here, right? But then those homies, those OGs got finally arrested over here, and, obviously they got locked up and sent back over there. So these little young homies were just youngsters, you know what I mean? And with no big homies to guide them and etc. They pretty much just did what they could, you know what I mean? They represented theirs and just, went with the flow as much as they knew. So then certain of the homies started getting busted, and then they chose to run with a suit, obviously because they're over here from Southern California. But they're the same gang, the same one as the East Coast one, but over here they just run sued for the very reasons that I just said, you know what I mean? They're over here, and they're all older homies ain't there to guide them, so they just they were what they could. But yeah, this is where they were established, and right here in Pasadena, it was their largest clica. This is the where it all began, the danger zone. And Pasadena, it was in the area of Los Robles Avenue all the way to Orange Grove Boulevard all the way to North Lake Avenue all the way to Washington Boulevard. So everything that was in the middle was considered their barrio. So throughout El Molino, I think that's how you say, Molino Avenue, that slices through their barrio. Everything that's from Mountain Street, Jackson Street, Douglas, Claremont, by where the Washington by the Washington Park as well, all of that is was considered the Latin Kings neighborhood where they originated from. Now they just didn't only stay here though. They have several different locations throughout California and throughout Southern California. They also have another strong presence within the east side of Los Angeles, actually in the area that is known as Commerce. Commerce is also an area where you're able to find the East Side Latin Kings. So while these were the Pasadena Latin Kings, these are the East Side Latin Kings, which are right here in the East Side, in the city of Commerce. You know what I mean? By the park is where you're able to find the Latin Kings over here. This is probably their second largest, branch, because the second oldest that's been established here in Commerce since the 90s, at least from what I was told. You know what I mean? And then they have another branch in the 818 Valley in the city of Van Nuys, is where you can find the Valley clique of theirs, 818, you know what I mean? Right there by the Kaiser Hospital in Van Nuys, close to Sherman Way. It's where you're able to find the Latin Kings, you know what I mean? Right there, them doing their things, almost close to the Asian boys and all of that is where you're able to find the Latin Kings in the Valle, you know what I mean? Shout out to the homies. And then not only there, but then now recently, not recently, but like their newest branch is located in the IE in the area that is known as Fontana. Yes, Fontana is also the place where you're able to find the Latin Kings. You know what I mean? The Latin Kings have been doing, they have a clique out over there in Fontana. I think it's called the LSDs or LSGs. Something like that, Latin Kings. And in Fontana, their neighborhood is in the downtown area. Everything that's from Cypress Avenue, I would have to say the territory still extends all the way to what's Palmetto Avenue, and then all the way to historic and back around, you know what I mean? And everything that's in the middle is considered the varrios. So throughout La Sierra Avenue, Arrow Boulevard, Upland Avenue, all of that. That's where you're able to find the Latin Kings in Fontana, and they grew in numbers pretty fast, you know what I mean? And they are homeboy sureños, even though they rock the color, black and yellow, like the ones in the East Coast. Nonetheless, they're still homeboys that hold it down for theirs and continue to still represent and put theirs on the map. Now, for the next Kings neighborhood, we actually have to travel to the 818 Valley, my home. You already know the 818, dangerous, notorious, home of, several different gangs, and one of them being a King Barrio. Now, this one a little bit different because it used to be a tag banging crew that was established roughly around the 90s. You know what I mean? Is when it was established. And it was they were taggers first, and then they became tag bangers, and then from that they transitioned into barrio, you know what I mean, roughly around like 2010, 12, roughly around that time frame. So they don't have that long being a neighborhood, but they go further back obviously because when they were a crew. And the name of the neighborhood is known as AK. AK translating to Aztec Kings. From what I was told, that was their original title, their original name, but it wasn't the only moniker that they used. They used assassin criminals. They used Assassin Clan. They have different meanings, you know what I mean? But the original, when they first started, the original phrase was Aztec Kings, you know what I mean? And it's still one that they use, and some even have tattooed. And like I said, they're roughly more of a smaller neighborhood on this side because they were a tag bang crew. They haven't been around that long, but at least from what I was told, roughly more than 50 members. They were more than that when they were tag bangers, but not everybody was down, for the transition and, etc. And their neighborhood is everything that's from Woodman to Sherman Way, and Sherman Way and Woodman all the way to Vanowen Street. And from Vanowen, I would have to say their neighborhood still goes all the way to where the riverbed's at. So everything that's in the middle, so throughout Hart, Bassett, Heartland, all of that is what's considered their barrio, you know what I mean? Through Sunny Slope Avenue, all of that is what's considered the Aztec Kings territory right there through Woodman Street, obviously being their clica. And they're real individuals that handle their thing, man. These guys ain't no chumps. Despite them, used to be tiny, doesn't mean nothing. You know what I mean? You would hear about these individuals doing stuff. You know what I mean? they were no chumps, homie. You know what I mean? They were no pushovers. They definitely stood theirs and continue to still represent theirs in the Valley Glen area, because Valley Glen, you know, roughly one of the more smaller cities in the San Fernando Valley, but that is where you were able to find them. You know what I mean? That's what they claim home, and probably the only neighborhood in Valley Glen, and continue to still hold it down right there and put theirs on the map. Now, as we maintain ourselves still here in the San Fernando Valley, where we're able to find another one of these neighborhoods with the king title to it. And this one is known as the Varrio VK or VKS, which is known as the Varrio Valley Kings. Now, the Varrio Valley Kings was a tagging crew before, you know what I mean? They were a tagging crew that roughly started around the late 80s, is when this neighborhood was established. They were a tagging crew that started in the area of Sherman Oaks and Reseda and, you know, parts of Van Nuys. They had members that were scattered throughout the San Fernando Valley, you know what I mean? But they were just like, you know, taggers, graffiti artists. From there, you know what I mean, their numbers started growing and expansion, you know, started expanding in other locations. And then from there, you know, they started getting, you know, into beefs with other groups and having to handle their business, you know what I mean? They handled their business, and it wasn't until roughly they became tag bangers around the late 90s, early 2000s. You know, they were tag banging. And then roughly around the later 2000s is when they established and, you know, transitioned into neighborhood. You know what I mean? And even though that was the original areas in which where they started, now the neighborhood is found a new home, which is in the area of Mission Hills. You know what I mean? Yes, Mission Hills does have neighborhoods. You know what I mean? And, you know, no, not just Hispanics. You have black neighborhoods as well. You have other Hispanic gangs there too, like the Mission Hill Boys. Shout out to them. Shout out to the homie Chino from there. Anywho, so this is an area in which they also claim, you know, as their home, Mission Hills. You know, despite what individuals want to say, you know, both neighborhoods are there. You know, it is what it is. I only come to call it how it is. Anyway, now the Valley Kings neighborhood is everything that's from Devonshire all the way to where the riverbed flows. So throughout Devonshire and like Arleta Avenue and all the way back to Chatsworth. So everything that's in the middle is what's considered their barrio, you know what I mean? Throughout Sepulveda, throughout San Jose, throughout Germain Street, Kingsbury Street, you know, Lemona Avenue, all of that is Woodman. It's what's considered the Valley Kings, you know, turf, you know, their territory where they get it on and popping and cracking. You know what I mean? That is what they call home, even though they started in other locations. This is where they called home. This is where they planted their flag at, and where they continue to still represent and hold it down for theirs. You know what I mean? These guys, you know, suckers. Now, they're not a real large neighborhood, you know what I mean? But, you know, at least from what I was told, is they're roughly around 60-something members to them. So, you know, they do have some heads, and like I said, real individuals that do real thing, real writers, homie, that won't hesitate. You know, they put theirs on the map and definitely hold it down for the VKS, the Valley Kings locals right there. Now, as we make our way to the Antelope Valley, the 661, yes, the 661 is also an area where you're able to find, you know, neighborhoods that handle their thing, you know what I mean? The Antelope Valley ain't playing, you know what I mean? It definitely gets on and cracking right here in the area of Palmdale. Palmdale is home to several neighborhoods, and one of them being a Kings Barrio, which is not only one of them, but one of the more larger and original neighborhoods out of this area, you know what I mean? Even though you do have barrios like, you know, Southside Palmas and everything like that. Another neighborhood that you have right here that is well established, probably, if not maybe one of the largest neighborhoods in Palmdale, one of the largest ones, which is known as the Barrio CKF, or Palmas 13 Kings. Palmas 13 Kings, or CKF, you know, translating to Crazy King Familia. Crazy King Familia is a neighborhood that's already been well established right here in Palmdale, roughly around the later 80s, early 90s when this neighborhood was established, right here, you know what I'm saying? And their territory was everything that was from Avenue Q to Devonshire Street, no, that's Avenue Q all the way to Division Street. And Division Street, I would have to say the territory still extends all the way to Palmdale Boulevard all the way to 6th Street and back to Avenue Q. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. Throughout 6th, throughout 5th, throughout Larkin, Fourth, Sumac, throughout, Second, all of that is what's considered their barrio, throughout, Avenue Q3, Avenue Q4, Avenue Q7. And everything in between is considered their barrio. You know what I mean? This is where you're able to find the Palmas Kings or the Crazy King family. You know what I mean? As it's more, known as. And not only here. I don't know how true this is, but there was another gang named Zoned Out Gangsters, and I was told that became a clique off of their barrio. I don't know how much truth there is to that. You know what I mean? But they're located over there on Fifth and R12. So what's Fifth and Ivy Drive? Is supposedly that's the clique of theirs as well. The Zoned Out Gangsters. I don't know how much truth there is to that. At least that's what I was told. But yeah, the Palmas Kings is roughly a few hundred members to them. So one of Palmdale's more largeable sets. Definitely hold it down, and definitely one of the well-known neighborhoods within Palmdale. When people think about Palmdale, it's one of the first ones that pops into mind, because these guys ain't no chumps. They definitely handle business and continue to still put theirs on the map and hold it down for the Palmdale and them Kings, you know what I'm saying? Out that Crazy King family. For the next barrio, we actually have to maneuver our way to the area of Bowling. You already know, stand up, Bowling movement. Is where we're able to find the next barrio on the list. Right here in Baldwin Park in the SGV. It is home to one of these Kings neighborhoods. And this barrio, it is known as the barrio KHA. KHA translating to barrio Kings Have Arrived. Kings Have Arrived used to be a tagging crew that transitioned into tag banging and then transitioned into barrio. They were a real crew that stood their ground, didn't let themselves get punked, handled their business. Whoever wanted it, they served it. You know what I mean? They never shied away from the pleitos. They were real individuals that did real things, you know what I mean? People could try to clown on taggers. Like I said, just because you were a tagging crew don't mean shit. These vatos will get it on and popping, homie. You know what I mean? These vatos ain't just gonna let you come into their sector and thinking that, you could just, be punking them around, and these fools just gonna let themselves, regardless if they were taggers or not. When you're down for your shit, you're down for your shit, homie, and that's just what it is. And these guys, stood their ground, to more larger neighborhoods than theirs, because obviously, there's several gangs within the Baldwin Park area, but they didn't let themselves, my boy. They stood on their 2 feet, homie, and climbed up that ladder and achieved it, homie. And like I said, homie, it ain't no easy task, you know what I'm saying? And their barrio is everything that's from Pacific Avenue all the way to Puente Avenue. From that, I would have to say the territory still extends all the way to Badillo Street. I think that's how you pronounce it. And then back to Ramona Boulevard. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. But their dojo, their main domain, the heart of their hood, where it gets on and cracking, it's on Violent Avenue. That's where you see, VSC, as a clica, the violin. Right there is where you're able to get it on and cracking, where they be holding it down, that's like through violin and Chevalier Avenue. That's violin and Jeremy, violin and Central Avenue. Throughout that area is where you're able to find the Kings Have Arrived neighborhood, KJ. And yes, this is the barrio in which Bowling Movement, the rappers, this is the gang that they're from, what they put it down for. You know what I mean? Go check out their music right here on YouTube. They get down. Talented individuals. You won't be disappointed. That's for sure. And yes, they do hold it down for the KHA, still to be, still representing it and still, hold it down. They're not, a large neighborhood because they're not that old school. They haven't been around that long, you know what I mean? Roughly around the 90s, you know what I mean? And roughly around the mid 2000s when they became, a neighborhood. And from what I was told, is they were roughly like about, 50 to 60 members. So, they're not like larger like some of these other gangs, but nonetheless, homie, they have real riders and continue to still really do real things. You know what I mean?
Thank you for watching M.O.D Entertainment. Make sure you like and subscribe.